What if I told you that someone who helped bring over 1,000 new lives into this world walked away from it all? Well, to help people in a completely different way. Today's guest, an amazing person, Sydney Graves. Go and check her out online. She's blowing up. She's absolutely incredible. She did just that. From the intensity of the delivery room to reaching hundreds of thousands through social media, Sydney's story is about having the courage to completely reinvent yourself. In part one of this 3-part series, we dive into the raw truth about listening to your gut, even when it's telling you to leave what everyone else calls a dream career. Get ready for a conversation that might just give you permission to make that big change in your own life, and you might have been dreaming about it. She's authentic, she's raw, she's incredible. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here on Leading Our Own Way on the YouTube channel. We're on Spotify and Apple too, and all the social media is Leading Our Own Way too. Here's Sydney myself after my little trailer of me walking down the beach. It's actually not the beach, it's the wetlands, but there we go. Here's Sydney Graves and myself. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Well, Sydney Graves, this is a long time coming. Thanks for joining me eventually on Leading Our Own Way. How are you?
Oh, I know, bloody hell. I was like, this has been forever. We've been speaking for months and months and months and trying to get the diaries to marry up. But yes, I'm in Singapore and we're doing it now. So it's great.
I
Sorted.
know we're both from England. We both live in the same city. We couldn't make it work,
Yeah.
but now you're in Singapore and somehow we've made it work.
Literally, I don't know how that's happened.
Either do I. You've got more free time now. You've made the changes, and I know that'll become clear, but you've made a lot of changes recently, and that's why you're flaunting yourself around the world.
Well, absolutely. Now I've chopped the job off. I'm like, well, I can just do what I want now.
I know. Amazing. Well, welcome, Sydney Graves, to Leading Our Own Way. Thanks for joining me on my journey.
Thank you.
You have been helping me a little bit. It was last year now, wasn't it, when we were speaking? Well, we've spoken this year, but last year we heavily got chatting. You was helping me, giving me techniques for my social media. And I bring up the social media because that's been a huge part of your journey. And funny enough, actually, I've been looking at your followers who we have in mutual friends. And I've got people who I don't speak to really much anymore here in Australia following you, and people in England that I grew up with following you. How mental is that?
It is weird. It's so funny because like people will like I'm at my friends now in Singapore and people have been messaging me saying, I know his mum, I know her this, I know, and I'm like, it's just so funny, just people know everyone. And one of my friends who I'm like staying with at the minute in Melbourne when I go back to Melbourne, her mum and mum's husband are like, we go down the pub and they're like, what's going on with Sydney? Like they know stuff about me. It's just really weird.
Yeah. What I love about this is those people in my hometown in Manchester won't know that we know each other. Probably don't even know my podcast exists even. But then all of a sudden they'll see it on the social media going, hold on a second. How?
I know, it's really crazy. It's mental though, because they say like no matter where you are, you're only like a couple of people away from knowing someone of someone else. And yeah, it's crazy. And I guess that there's loads of expats in Australia, so it's easy to have a link to back to home.
It really is. It really is. Well, you're leading your own way in many, many different ways. Your life has dramatically changed over the last year in the sense of who you are, what you represent, and the type of things you're doing. What we do share in common is that we left our home. We left our home and moved to the side of the world. We share that in common, but you've done a lot of other things as well. You've come over here to work to Australia, but now you've kind of quit your job and you've done other things. Tell us how. I always ask how people are leading their own ways. I want it to be a bit of a cliche with the title. How would you say you're leading your own way then, Sydney?
Something that I probably would say over the last 6 months to a year is something that I haven't done previously is go with my gut instincts and go with what feels right. I've always been like, oh, but I need a backup. And my mum's always taught me, you've got to have something there in case something else doesn't work out. You've always got to kind of have something. And what I'm trying to do now is be like, do you know what? No matter what scenario I've been in, I've always come out the other side. And I've always kind of hustled and been able to get through it. So I would say that being like true to myself and listening to my insides
Mm.
has allowed me to go, do you know what, bugger it, it doesn't feel right anymore. I need to leave my job and I want to do something else.
So well, it's funny you bring that up because I was actually saying somebody the other day, the guy who actually wrote my book with, believe it or not, and I'm not meaning to
Yeah.
plug my book there, but genuinely, it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
no, genuinely, me and Mike do audio notes all the time, and he's kind of like me. He's trying to. I've left my job, and I'm doing this, but he left his. He's leaving his job in Manchester, getting made redundant, and he's always coming up with these amazing ideas, and he's flaunting between them and coming up. Anyway, I said, don't have a plan B. Just have one plan,
Yeah.
because as soon as you have a
Yeah.
plan B, your brain is wired to think about, well, I'm secure, I've got that if I need it. No, no, no. I have to casually teach every day because I have to pay for this place, right? And the cars and so on,
Yeah.
the children and whatnot. But I've made it very clear, and I say very clearly to people, I am never, and I'll publicly say it here on
Mm-hmm.
the camera, I am never going back to teaching at a school. I'll casually teach
Yeah.
with no responsibility. But the
Yeah.
toxicity that's brought in my life, I am never going back, and I have not got a
It's not
plan B.
worth it.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. No plan B for me. It's the podcast. It's things that might come from the podcast that might not even exist now, but there's no plan B.
Yeah. I
And
like that.
you know what I mean? So I think that's kind
Yeah.
of where I align with you, what you're saying. There's no plan B. You're going with the flow. And I think we are trained to think of, well, you just need this. Go and get a degree. Back yourself up. You need a job. Because I feel that even now, right? People, what are you doing? You're only casually teaching. No,
They project. It's projection of like
Mm.
anxiety, because I got that when I was going to leave. My mum was like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? You sure?" People at work are like, "Really, really? No, oh God."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "But all I do is if it doesn't work, I go back. Like you teach, I'm a midwife. We have that set forever. Like yes,
exactly.
we might have to dip in slightly, but we've always got that underlying thing. So it is a safety net. But I do also say I am never getting a contracted job where I am told what I have to do, when I have to go to the toilet, like when I have to have my break, when I have to work at Christmas and miss all of the activities that my friends are doing. I'm not doing it anymore. Like I'm not, I'm just not. It's just not worth it.
No, I agree. Totally agree. So, okay, well, you've just brought it up. You are a midwife. You've you've got a handle. Plug your own handle. I always try and remember it was something like UK Midwife Down Under or something.
Yes, well done.
Go me.
Yes, that's
Go.
correct. UK midwife down under. And to be honest, I feel like I'm always going to be midwife, although I'm not practicing as a midwife full time. It's always going to be there. That is me. Like that is
Yeah.
part of me. I'm in two minds about whether to change the name, but I'm known as that, and I'll always be a midwife. And I did start the page off from going from the UK to Australia to be a midwife, but now I am traveling and all over the place. I'm kind of changing my bio rather than my name, because I still
Mm.
want to keep that, because people know me for that now, because it's
Yeah.
grown so big over the last year. I feel like people know what that brand is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you're coming back to Australia, and like you say, you're going to move around Australia and do work. I'm assuming you're going to go and do casual midwifery. Is that right?
I
No.
don't think I'm going to be a midwife again, to be honest.
Oh, well, you need to update
Yeah.
me on this because I didn't know this. I thought you're just going off doing a little bit of travel. Let's fill these gaps in because it has been a while since we've spoken. Fill me up. Why leave midwifery then?
So first of all, you were talking about instincts.
Yeah.
And when people ask me about whether I'm doing casual, there's something in my body that feels a block to say yes. I might say yes to make myself feel more secure, but I just think that I think that I've been given this opportunity to do more than just what I was doing every day. Like I feel like in midwifery, your aim is to help women. I really want to still help women or help people. That I think is my purpose. But I just don't know whether it's midwifery anymore. And I have signed up to agencies. I have got the option to do agency work.
Mm.
But I can't see that in my near future, to be honest, going back and doing any midwifery work, which is pretty sad. But I don't think I think that I'll find other things to help other people in other ways that's going to fulfill me in the same way that midwifery did at one time, at a point in my career, if that makes sense.
And before we get on to what you think it might be that will fulfill that need, then, what did midwifery, like me, it brought a lot of toxicity, and I found myself in very difficult situations of time. 10 years ago being bullied, and more recently 3-4 years ago in a toxic work environment. I've just got rid of all my stresses. Right. I still have stresses and
Yeah,
good stresses, and of
of
course, like
course.
everybody, family, kids annoy me, whatnot. But, oops, don't say that out loud. Get cancelled. Uh, but I want to take control of my own destiny. So if I don't like a school that I go to, or somebody spoke to me rudely last week over a bloody apple eating outside on the yard. I'm like, what? I had a drink of water. You're not allowed out of that. What? Tell me nicely then. Don't be rude. And
Yeah,
I don't have to go
yeah,
back there anymore. I can control that,
yes.
right? I
Choice,
was,
choice.
yeah, I was sad. I was a little
Hmm.
bit hurt and I told the principal and I said, look, one of your members of staff spoke to me about this. I wasn't aware. Maybe going forward, tell the guests who are coming to the school, you're not allowed that on here because it was kind of
Yeah,
like a special education. So these children are not mainstream. So I understand it, but I didn't know. So you got to let me
yeah,
know
of
nicely.
course. Yeah,
So I don't know why I went down there, but the point was I get to control whether I go back there again.
yeah, of
And
course.
if I worked every day, I'd be entering that. It triggers my thought process. I'm going to enter that space every day. I'm counting the minutes down. I'm stressed. Chronic stress gets in.
Hmm.
Nearly die again. Not doing that. So with you, then,
Hmm.
was it the same? Was it? This is a long-winded question, but was it toxic? Was it a toxic environment?
No, I can't say it was, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
yes, lots of women together can be quite bully-esque. I've said that before, but I didn't feel that at all. I've never really, like, yes, everyone wakes up in the morning and thinks, oh my God, I can't be bothered to go to work. But when it was like a repetition of, I'm burnt out, I'm not enjoying it, I'm losing the will, I'm not getting the satisfaction anymore because I'm not seeing the same things as I did back home because there's a lot of medical intervention I find in the hospital that I was in. There was a lot less low risk things. I thrive in the low risk stuff. I teach hypnobirthing, I teach mindfulness, I teach parent education, I teach all about how to change your mindset around birth. So for me, being in that scenario where it was very medicalized, um, like there was lots of, I guess, back and forth with doctors and midwives, and you weren't as autonomous as I was in England, making more decisions in England. I think that eventually, once they trust you in a hospital, you do get that autonomy. But I just didn't enjoy the same. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did back home, basically. And there was parts of it I loved, like say triage. It's a bit like go A&E. They call up, I'm bleeding, I can't feel my baby, I need to come in, I think I'm in labour. I'll take those phone calls, I'll educate them on the phone, all of these things that I really enjoy doing. That's all fine. But then when I'm doing 4 12-hour night shifts in a row, or I'm doing 3 weekends in a row, or I'm doing nights to days, all of the enjoyment goes out of it because you're so tired and so burnt out. It's impossible to then enjoy the fact that you're going in for a fourth night shift, which I just don't think that shift work. I don't think that anyone should do shift work longer than 10 years. I just think it
Yeah.
messes up your whole like hormones, like how you feel about yourself. And when
Circadian
I was in
rhythms.
England, yeah, the circadian rhythm, like I'm obsessed with going to sleep at normal times now. I'm a bit all over the place at the minute because I'm traveling all over, but I do love to have structure and routine. So I just was like, do you know what? I've got my permanent residency. That means that I can be open to do other stuff. So I'm going to lower my hours. I then lowered my hours, and then things didn't really change at work. I was still getting lots of shifts where I was doing nights. Understandably, that is part of the role. I completely get that. I knew that when I was going in. But when I've done that for 12 years, being a student for 3, where I had to work 50% of the time, and then being a qualified, it's just not worth it. And then obviously did the social media, and that kind of did really well. And I thought, well, if I can make some money through social media, why won't I just do that? And I can go and like I don't have kids, I don't have anything that's holding me back. I've got midwifery to go back to if I want to. Bugger it, why don't I just go? What's the worst that can happen? I say that to everyone. What's the worst that can happen? I go back. Well, that's fine. No shame in going back. It doesn't bother me. I know I won't, but there's no shame in going back.
That's right. But if the more you keep saying I'm doing this, you will actually go in that direction, and midwifery
Yeah,
the gap will get bigger, won't it? It's the same scenarios for me. I just have what you don't have is the house and the kids that I have to pay for. Otherwise, I would have done this whole
exactly.
podcast
Yeah.
10 years ago. um, I've got to be careful what I say because they might hear me. Nightmares. Uh,
Put bloody lime.
yeah.
Lime seeds in my gin and tonic, they're going in my mouth.
Gin and tonic. It's only 6. What time is it there in Singapore? It's only 7:30. Look at you.
I know. Well, I've had my friends have made me gambas pill. We've had garlic prawns. I did steak. I went and got some ribeye steaks from the butchers, and roasted potatoes and roasted cauliflower. And then we were like, should we have a drink?
Why not? Look at
I
this,
know,
everybody.
sorry, carry on.
Just get into social media, everybody. We can all live the life what Sydney's doing.
Exactly.
So, okay, then. So with social media, then is that the direction we're clearly heading in? Getting paid from that, that's going to be a full time, and is that your purpose now? Is where you're going to maybe help people through social media hit that bigger community, or have I just totally got that
It,
wrong?
no, it's weird because like I do get lots of messages like you are an inspiration, you are this, and I'm like, really? Like that just goes over my head because I'm just being normal. But I
Yeah,
do think that I don't necessarily like the term content creator, and that's my only job, although that it is really tough and people might take the mick and go, oh God, you're pathetic. You only have to do some videos. No, it's really hard. I had like a full-time job and doing that at the same
yeah,
time. It really is difficult. But I just think that I know that something else is coming in and it's going to be able to, my platform is going to enable me to help others in a different way. That's what I think.
yeah. So what is it? What type of people come through to you, and what type of support do you think? What's the general gist? You know, like I think this is a mental health podcast, whether it is or it isn't. In my mind, I feel like I want the viewers to take pieces away from the guest and implement into their life some shape or form, right? However they feel
Hmm.
fit, and if they can take strategies from you all. Who are the type of people in your audience that tend to come through to you? Is it people who are trying to change their business, travel to the side of the world, become a midwife? I mean, what is it? Is it people struggling mentally
Yeah,
mainly?
I don't know. It's funny because I get a lot of messages saying I'm not a midwife. I don't live in Australia, and I'm 40, but I follow you because I just love watching the lifestyle and you bring and you're so happy and fun like to watch. It makes me feel good. So, and I get lots of people like, oh, I've been waiting. Like I wake up every morning and I'll just watch you and see what you've done on your day and stuff. And I'm like, that's mental that people watch that. So I guess that I
Those
don't know
people
if I
don't
just
listen
even
to there. Keep listening to her.
but I'm like, it's really lovely. But I guess people come. I don't know if it's just because I'm normal and real, I guess, and I'm not like putting anything on for show. I'm just saying the real highs and lows of my life and what's going on. And I think people come for ADHD stuff, and because I've been diagnosed with ADHD, I think people come for midwifery stuff. I think people come for mindfulness stuff because I talk about journaling and doing stuff. I think people come for travel stuff. I think it's just a collection of everything, of just
Mm.
lifestyle in general. People, I think maybe I allow people to realize that there's more. And I've had a lot of people message me to say, I like someone messaged me the other day, I've just booked a trip to Bali by myself. I would never have done that if it wasn't for you. Like, it's just
Oh,
lovely stuff like that where I'm like,
mm.
oh God, that means so much, like that you've done that. Because if I was following someone who had a page like mine, I might go out there and do more. Like when I first started, and I broke up with my ex, and I was by myself a lot of the time. I was going out for dinners by myself. I was going out to have drinks by myself. I was going to happy hour by myself. People were messaging me, "Are you by yourself? How do you do that? Oh my God!" And I was like, I get it because it's if you're not used to that, it's really daunting. So I would be like, right, okay, why don't you try once going for a cup of coffee for 15 minutes with a book in a cafe round the corner from your house that you've been to 10 times just to pick up a takeaway, but this time sit in there and do something, and then add to it. And I think that the thing that I do is I am very like simple when it comes to instructions and what to do and how to make your life easier. And I think that my Instagram interjects that, how to relocate easy, how to find a house easy, how to rent somewhere easily, how to buy a car easy. And I think that all of those things intertwined is why people then come to my Instagram.
Yeah, and I think going back to what you said though, you are. I know the word authentic gets thrown around, but you're authentic. It comes across authentic. And that's powerful in its own way. People relate to people who are not got these mics. I mean, I know I've got a mic, but doing it all professionally. Sometimes you're just being real.
Yeah,
You're wearing makeup sometimes, but then sometimes you're not, and people relate to that,
yeah.
right? It's yeah. Okay, I think people who are tuned.
People ask me, oh, do you have any like, what do you use to like take videos? I was like, oh, just like prop it up against a water bottle or like stick it up
That's so
somewhere like
Sydney.
that. Yeah. Literally, I'm just like, oh, whatever.
And you see these other content creators, sorry, not content creators, doing all these professional stands and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah.
So, you know what? I think this is a perfect point because there's other questions I think I could feed off for everything you've just said there. But I think for anyone who's tuning in who doesn't know who you are and is tuning in to Leading Our Own Way, let's paint that picture from the point because everything changed social media wise since you arrived in Australia. But let's go back
Hmm.
before you got to Australia, why you set up the page, and then because I think the story is fascinating about how you woke. You know, I think you know where I'm going with it, where you woke up and it was like whoa, and then the next week whoa, and how it
Yeah,
just kind of
yeah.
increased and changed, and then we can talk, bring in the pressures of all of that. Yeah, go to the point before you came to Australia when you set up the page.
So the immediate, so I would say probably a year to 18 months prior to moving to Australia was when I got the bug to potentially go. I was like, do you think, I think I want to go. I've got to have someone who I can talk to. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to set like a little diary up, AKA an Instagram and a TikTok where I can just post things that I can look back on, that my family and friends can see because we're different time zones. My mum's a single parent. I'm her only child. I want her to be able to see what I'm doing every day. And then I thought, actually, there's loads of people at work who were talking about wanting to move. Why don't I start posting about how I've done it? So, what the steps are, breaking it down so it's easy. How do I relocate? Not shit. I need to go from this to this and I can't get there, and just breaking it down into simple steps. So, I started then doing that. And then my visa took longer than expected. There was huge delays. Eventually, I got it, and I hadn't really posted for quite a while. And then when I got my visa, I thought, right, I'll post again. So I started posting again. Like, I guess I was having like okay amount of views. I wasn't really doing it for that. I was just doing it for, as I say, people back home. And then got to Melbourne, and then I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go day one. This is what I'm doing. I couldn't edit for shit. If you go back to my videos from like a year and a bit ago, they were bloody awful, the edits. The music
I've
would
looked,
chop off halfway through. Yeah, they're
I've
absolutely
compared.
dreadful. Yeah, and they're not even that great now, to be honest, but they're better than they were. And so for the first month when I moved, I must have been putting 2 to 3 posts up a day, whether it was artwork, whether it was the graffiti, whether it was a coffee I was drinking, whether it was where I was going. I was just so buzzing to be there. And then talking about what I was doing. This day I've been out and looked at a rental. This is what it's been like. These are what the houses are like. This day I've gone and done a food shop, and then I was getting requests, and then I was waking up to 5,000 followers a day, and then I was waking up to 2,000 followers. Then I was just getting more and more and more, and I went from probably about 500 to about 40K in maybe 4 or 6 weeks, something like that.
That is insane.
I know, and because I was going to sleep, and the majority of my audience were from England, I was then waking up to like, oh my God, I just would go to my ex-boyfriend. Like I would just be scrolling and scrolling, like, what the hell? This is insane. And something that I've always done from the very beginning is I get back to, I would say, at least 80% of my messages. Like I've just gone through all of my messages today. So I've got 125,000 followers or something now. So I get quite a few messages a day, but I tend to like them or get back to them. And I try to get back to as many comments as possible because I want to still be connected. I don't want them to feel like I'm just this person that isn't
Yeah,
actually involved in stuff.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it just absolutely blew up. And then I've had peaks and troughs. So I had my breakup. I was talking about this the other day. I had my breakup, had about 10,000 new followers. My nana died. I got about 10,000 new followers. I then went traveling, and then I got 20,000 new followers. And it's just like gone from there, like different events that have happened in my life of me just talking openly about it has then just rocketed my followers basically.
Because everything you're going through, when the negative stuff like the separation and people passing away, that is real life, and people
Of
connect to
course.
that. It makes them feel that they're not alone. Then it makes them feel they're a part of your life, even though they might not get
Yeah.
to physically speak to you every single day. It's like a new, because I feel like connection in the world is an all time low. And we are connecting through social media. That's our form of
Hmm.
connection now, and that's their way. Whether they're lonely, whether they've got a family that just don't understand, feels like they've got a bit of an ear in you, I suppose. You know that in a way that you're listening to them, even though you're not
Yeah.
directly. It's powerful stuff, and unfortunately those negative events bring you, but also it seems like the positive events you travel, maybe you just need to keep doing things where you go to one place to another place and just document it. It sounds like you'll just get 10K a pop.
Yeah, I know it is mental. It is just like blown my mind. Like I can't quite believe that this is where I'm at. But then I'm just like, but then people message me who I used to work with and be like, we always knew you'd do something like this. And I'm like, really? Like that's crazy. Like it
Yeah.
just blows my mind. People are like, you should write a book. And I'm like, what on? I haven't got enough to write about. And they're like, are you joking?
Yeah.
You've done like a whole like lifetime of stuff in 30 years or even in the last 5 years. Like you've got loads to write about. I'm like, oh no, shit, no one's gonna want to read that.
I thought that about the book, though. You should totally do it. I definitely. And
I
how many,
know.
how many women would buy your book? Forget social media, then the book sales would be insane.
Do you reckon? I
I
don't even
really
know what I
genuinely
would
do.
talk about though. I don't know what I'd even talk about. But I
Well,
have said to
this,
my mum, like, I do want to do, I do want to write a book at some point, even if it's just to help people like realize they can get to something if they really like if they really go for it, basically.
what I would do tonight? Write a line and then add to that line tomorrow, and then just
Yeah,
dedicate writing one line, and then in a month maybe change it to a paragraph, and before you know
yeah,
it, the things will start to flow. It's
yeah,
same with the podcast, right? I'm not creative. I am not a designer. I've got all this. I've met people who do branding message me who have worked in branding and know me, not just scammers wanting my money, but people who are genuinely connected with me, like some of my former guests work in marketing, quite high up in brands and whatnot. And they said, I just absolutely love your aesthetics, the design, everything about it. One guest who I just did a pre-chat with won't appear on podcasts. He said, Andy, I just reject podcasts, but I want to come onto yours because you're consistent and it looks great. And I'm like, oh,
oh, that's nice.
yeah, it makes me
Yeah,
feel so good because I doubt myself.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
doubt myself. With so that
yeah,
in mind, your content does really have this personal touch, as we mentioned. But if people were going to tune into Sydney that don't know anything about you, and this is a platform, I would like this to be the perfect platform for you to tell them something that they don't already know. What would that be, do you think? And we're just getting started with Sydney's incredible journey in part 2, dropping later this week. Don't know what day yet, I'm still decided. We'll explore how she turned her ADHD into a superpower and built an authentic social media presence that's changing lives. Follow us on Leading Our Own Way to make sure you don't miss a single part of this powerful story. Keep leading your own way. We'll see you for part 2 with Sydney. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.